Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a trailer reaction video for the House of the Dragon trailer that just dropped. Yeah, so I haven't seen this trailer yet. I saw the first 2-3 seconds trying to set all this up, but beyond that I haven't seen anything. So I'm super hyped for this. Yeah, if you don't know, if you're new here, I have read the book. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, huge fan of the books, and also huge fan of Fire and Blood, which is the book this is based on. So yeah, I'm really hyped for this trailer and for the show. So I'm hoping for a lot of dragons in this trailer, which from the first 3 seconds seems like we will see a lot of dragons. And yeah, let's see how it is, and then we'll talk a bit more.
He's afoot. The dream, it was clearer than a memory. And I heard the sound of thundering hooves, splintering shields and ringing swords. And I placed my heir upon the Iron Throne. And all the dragons roared as one.
I consider the matter urgent, that of your succession.
Who else would have a claim?
The firstborn child.
Rhaenyra. No queen has ever sat the Iron Throne.
The king has an heir, Daemon Targaryen. I will not be made to choose between my brother and my daughter.
Rhaenyra's succession will be challenged. Knives will come out.
You are the king. Your duty is to take a new wife.
I have decided to name a new heir. I'm your heir. War is afoot.
Do you think the realm will ever accept me as their queen?
A woman would not inherit the Iron Throne, because that is the order of things.
When I am queen, I will create a new order.
Your family has dragons.
There are power men should never have trifled with.
If Rhaenyra comes into power, she can cut off any challenge to her succession. I am to inherit the Iron Throne. She will block my way.
Our hearts remain as one.
Our hearts were never one. Have you never imagined yourself on the Iron Throne? Where is duty? Where is sacrifice? Now they see you as you are.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I'm a bit speechless at this because this was quite different from what I was expecting. Like, I should have expected it more. Like, this gets across the story quite clearly. Like, the whole succession crisis or the succession question. This is really interesting to that. Yeah, they showed a lot of the characters. I think obviously it's centered very much around Rhaenyra, around Alicent, and around Daemon. But I think they also showed a lot of interesting other things. I think they showed a lot more dragons than I was expecting. I was hoping for dragons, but I wasn't expecting that we'll see so many. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I actually have to go through this once more. All right, guys. I had to take some moments because I was kind of speechless there after watching this for the first time. Yeah, so just for some immediate reactions, I was blown away. I am quite happy with a lot of things, the way they are looking. I think it seems like they've made a lot of decisions to be like very close to the book. There are a lot of things that remind you very clearly of the story in the book, which makes a lot of sense. But also it's interesting because they're hinting at certain decisions they made that weren't so clear in the book, or at least weren't. Yeah, I would say they weren't clear, or they weren't exactly that way, but since this is an adaptation of not a novel but of a history book, or it's basically a fake history book in the universe of A Song of Ice and Fire, they have a bit of a liberty to decide like how to interpret certain characters, how to interpret certain events, and I think they're doing that in an interesting way here. So I'll go through this again, and I'll put some pictures on the screen, so you can watch along with what scenes I'm talking about. Yeah, and I just want to go through quickly again to see what exactly I think about all of it. So I'm going to play this again, and then I'm going to pause as it goes on, and then you'll see basically what I'm talking about. So let's start this again. So we get the HBO logo, and then we move to basically Rhaenyra in this throne room. And we see Rhaenyra, and it's probably Daemon on the Iron Throne sitting there, because we saw this image that was released, I think, yesterday, of Daemon sitting on the Iron Throne, and I think that's supposed to be in that same scene. We've seen this scene before in the first teaser, actually. So yeah, and then we move to this HBO original series, and then we hear Viserys talking about his dream, and yeah, it's clearer than the memory, and he heard the sound of hooves, and I really like this shot of him in front of the fire, and then we move on to this nice I don't know, it's a racing sequence in the woods. I'm not sure who this is actually. It might be Rhaenyra and Daemon. Yeah, and then so while Viserys is talking, we're seeing all these scenes, right? And then we switch to this nice fight scene between Kristen Cole and Daemon, which I'm surprised they showed this much of it. Obviously, I think this was going to be a bit longer in the show, actually, but I think they showed quite a bit of it, and that also like a pretty major sequence in that fight. So very surprised about that, but I'm happy about how it's looking. I really like their armors, and I also I'm really happy about the way they interpreted the shields, the weapons, and just how it looks. Looks very nice. Um, then we move on and we see Rhaenyra again, and somebody pulling out a sword in front of her, or yeah, somebody pulling the sword out of its sheath, and I believe this is probably Kristen. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident it's Kristen. I think the main two candidates would be Kristen and Damon. Like, it could be Damon as well. Yeah, it's hard to say, really. Like, I thought it's Kristen because this armor looks more like the Kingsguard armor, but maybe it's Damon actually. It's hard to tell if this sword is Dark Sister or not. So and then we get Viserys again, who's talking about putting his heir on the Iron Throne, and we see this is something that, so I went also quickly to the Reddit to kind of confirm some of the stuff I was thinking about, because I was confused about some of the dragons, who was who, so I was looking at some theories and stuff. But one thing I also saw is people were talking about how it looks like Viserys cut himself on the Iron Throne here, which could be the case. We see some red there, and I think that's very nice. It's a very nice shot here of Viserys, on the throne. And then he talks about like how he put his heir on the Iron Throne, and then all the dragons roared as one. And then we switch to this view of, now I believe this is again Cyrex and Rhaenyra. It might be Aegon and Sunfire, but I think they're highlighting Cyrex a lot here. So I think it's Rhaenyra and Cyrex in front in King's Landing, and then we see the dragon pit in the back. And actually, this shot really reminds me of something we saw in Game of Thrones. We saw the dreams that Bran had, with the shadow of the dragon flying above the King's Landing. And this reminded me really of that. And I really like the look of the dragon pit in the background. I'm not sure what scene this is depicting exactly. It seems like she's flying towards the dragon pit. It might also be a similar scene to the one we saw in the previous teaser trailer, where she's flying in King's Landing and we see her flying towards the Red Keep. Maybe it's kind of the same scene where she's flying around and then goes to either the dragon pit or the Red Keep. And then we move on, and then I think so. Then we move into this other shot, and I'm not sure if this is King's Landing. I would assume so because there's a dragon statue here. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about the shot. I like how it looks. I like how the set basically is looking. I like how many people there are. It looks kind of like a marketplace. Um, yeah, we have some carriages as well. Yeah, I like the look of this. And then we get, so this is an interesting one. We get this shot of somebody putting what looks like a stone eye into, I don't even know if this is a plate or what this is. I have no idea what this is, and I don't know who this is putting the stone eye in whatever socket this is. Um, yeah, it's hard to say. I don't have a lot to say, but I'm really intrigued about what this is. Yeah, anyway, let's move on from this. And then we switch over to the small council scene. And this is something I want to talk about because I really like how this looks. Because just from the fact that who the people are that are in this image, it's very nice. I really like that Rhaenyra is on the side as the cupbearer. Yeah, and then we get Otto and Corlys, who we'll see speaking here. And we start with Otto talking about that he thinks there's an urgent matter about the succession of Viserys. And basically, what we're seeing here is that Otto is trying to convince Viserys that he should not put Daemon as his heir, but rather choose Rhaenyra. And as they're saying that, we see Daemon on the journey, and then we have the cutaway to Rhaenyra. And it's interesting that Otto is obviously suggesting Rhaenyra, obviously lines up with the book, and obviously will have some interesting repercussions for Otto personally. Yeah, so I really think it's interesting. I also think it's interesting that Lionel Strong is already in this council and he's saying, Rhaenyra, no queen has ever set the Iron Throne. So we see there will be a very interesting discussion going on here, and I really like this shot of Rhaenyra and Laenor. I think this looks quite nice. I'm not sure where this would be, probably Driftmark or Dragonstone. Or very likely Driftmark or Dragonstone. But yeah, these two shots of them are really nice. First, you see this wide shot of them at the beach, and then we see this close shot of them walking, which I think this already shows quite a bit of the relationship. And I don't want to spoil stuff here. So yeah, but I'm really looking forward to see how they realize this and how their dynamic will start off, and then how it will change as the season goes on. Because I think this is a very interesting relationship to explore. Yeah, so we see them, and then we switch to Corlys, who is basically defending Daemon's claim to be the heir, and then we get a few nice shots of Daemon, first with the gold cloaks, and then, yeah, we get Corlys basically saying that the king already has the heir, and has an heir, which is Daemon, or who is Daemon. Yeah, and yeah, we get this repetitive shots of Daemon with the gold cloaks, which I really like. It kind of highlights the gold cloak aspect of Daemon and his his intricate relationship with that order. So I think that's really nice, and it's also cool to see basically Viserys basically saying, "I'm not going to choose between my brother and my daughter," which again hints at what he's hoping for, which again I think is a nice way to showcase Viserys' character, but also to kind of put this seed in your head that there is this question of succession already at this time. And then, yeah, we get again some scenes with the gold cloaks, and then we move to this nice shot of Rhaenyra and I think Harold Westerling, which is interesting. I'm not sure what exactly this is. I first thought this is, or I actually still think this is probably where Kristen is going to be inducted into the Kingsguard, but I'm not exactly sure because there are a lot of other knights here. I assume this is King's Landing again in the Red Keep. It looks like the castle has some red going on there, so I think it is. But we see a few different knights from different houses, but Kristen is the one that's highlighted here, and it's hard to tell if he's in Kingsguard armor or if he's just starting off here. Yeah, so some scene highlighting Kristen, maybe the scene where he joins the Kingsguard. And then we get this nice shot again of of the stairs, I believe, on Dragonstone that we've seen in Game of Thrones a lot. I think that's what this is, and we see a lot of smoke, which is nice because Dragonstone is built on a volcanic island. So yeah, I think it's nice that they're adding that element. And yeah, there have been rumors that I think they actually mentioned it in the recent reports about House of the Dragon, that they'll add more smoke to the Dragonstone sets to kind of highlight the fact that it's sitting on a volcano. Okay, and then we get again the shot that we had at the very start of the two dragons, which I believe are Caraxes and Cyrax. And yeah, I think it's really a nice shot to kind of showcase. We really see I think Cyrax basically fly in front of the sun, and then we can see the sun through the wing. I think that's a really nice visual. And then on the left we can also see Caraxes, I believe, with the very long neck, and it kind of highlights the different designs of these two dragons, which I think is cool that they're doing multiple designs. I also like that you can, even from this distance, tell that there's some color difference between them, which was kind of looking for in this show. I was a bit disappointed about the dragon look in Game of Thrones. I think they looked awesome, but they looked a bit too similar for me. It was just the same dragon with a bit of different color, and even towards the end, the color isn't that different. Like Rhaegal had a bit of a green tint, but yeah, but all of them had very dark, not so vibrant colors, and I think they're doing it better here, where we get one yellow dragon, one red dragon in this case. Yeah, I really like this aspect. And then we switch to two shots of Corlys and Rhaenys talking about Rhaenyra's claim, which again, interesting. We're really looking forward to see this dynamic explored as well, to see how their relationship develops. Yeah, this is one of the relationships I really liked in the book. So yeah, I think this will be a really cool relationship to see on screen. And then, okay, there are a lot of shots in this trailer where I'm like, this is my favorite, but this is one that I've been looking forward to. There is some nice artwork of this from the book. I don't think the art is in the book, but that the artwork I'm talking about, I may put it on screen if I remember. The artwork that I remember is, I think it's maybe in the World of Ice and Fire, not sure. Yeah, but it's basically we see Daemon come back to King's Landing, and if you notice, basically in the next shot where I think it's Harold Westerling is pointing a sword at him, you can see he has a crown on his head, which has some significance. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this scene. I think this could be really cool. This is one of the scenes that, again, I love the artwork of it, and I think it has the potential to be awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to that one. Again, I think the throne looks nice in the next shot. We see, yeah, Harold Westerling, we see Daemon, and we see Viserys in the same shot. And then we switch over to Alicent, and we get two shots, one of young Alicent, and then we get a shot of older Alicent. Both very good shots. And then, yeah, in the background, now, one thing I think it's interesting, in the subtitles it says Rhaenyra is telling Viserys, "You are the king. It's your duty to choose a new wife." I am not sure whether I can trust these subtitles, because this is one thing where I'm like, would Rhaenyra want this? Maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't. But this sounded to me more like, basically, for the first time I watched this, I didn't have subtitles on. I thought this was Alicent talking, so I'm not sure. We get the shot of Alicent and Viserys together later on as well, but I'm kind of surprised that they said it's Rhaenyra, so my assumption is that it's Alicent and it's just a mistake in the subtitles, because there are actually some not mistakes, but some typos and stuff in these subtitles. And there's also, I think, another thing I'm confused about in the subtitles in the last trailer. So I'm not sure how accurate these subtitles are. But yeah, so from these shots and from basically what is being said, it seems like they've made a decision to make this whole decision of Viserys marrying Alicent a bit more interesting, let's say. In the book, it's quite different. It feels like it comes very much from Viserys' side. that he wants to marry Alicent, but here they seem to be showcasing that it's actually something where Alicent is more involved, and I think that's something that a lot of people have had as a theory, because it's something that is hard to kind of convey in the history book, because in the end we only know how the decision came to be, which is Viserys wanted to marry Alicent, but we didn't know what the build-up is. So, and I think here we are seeing the build-up where Alicent is kind of getting close to Viserys, and yeah, that's how this whole thing develops. So I think that's a really cool decision, which again, they could have gone either way with this, but they seem to have made a clear decision. And then another really nice scene, we see Viserys on the throne talking with Daemon, basically telling him, I've decided to name a new heir, and Daemon being like, I'm your heir, what the hell are you talking about? Which, again, escalation of conflict, maybe. Yeah, and then we get, again, the nice shot of Dragonstone, and then we get the shot of Daemon that we've seen in the previous trailer, where we get Daemon and Otto at Dragonstone, Daemon with Dragon Egg and Missaria, and then across from him, Otto with his party. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this scene. This will be interesting to see the dynamic between Otto and Daemon on screen. Yeah, and then again, it says Laenor says war is afoot, which I'm again, is Laenor saying that, or did they just misinterpret the did just the person who did the subtitles make a mistake? Because after this we see a shot of Otto, and then we switch to Kristen, and to me it seems like Kristen would be saying war is afoot, but maybe that's not the true. Maybe it's just cut in a weird way. Yeah, and then we see Kristen talking with Rhaenyra, and Rhaenyra basically, again, asking, like, will the realm accept me as the queen? Which is the main topic of the show, whether a female heir will be accepted. Yeah, will be interesting. And then we get this nice shot again of Rhaenyra in front of the Iron Throne, where she's being named the heir. We've seen this shot in multiple trailers. I think we've seen a shot of this in each trailer, actually. And we've also had this with the poster with the dragon in the background. So, yeah, I think this will be an epic scene, actually. It would be cool to see all the lords in King's Landing swear their fealty to her. Yeah. And then we get another shot of the scene from the last trailer where Rhaenys is talking with Rhaenyra, and she's basically telling her that men would rather put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne. And they kind of continue that whole conversation here, which I like, that this is a prolonged conversation. I'm really looking forward to seeing the dynamic between Rhaenys and Rhaenyra, and especially how Rhaenys feels about the whole Rhaenyra thing. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how exactly that will develop. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there for that relationship, because it's something that the book can't really the book can't really explore that much, because again, relationships isn't the main focus of the book because it's a history book, but that's something that I think the show has a lot of room to explore and kind of go a lot of different ways with this kind of relationships and character dynamics. Yeah. And then we go to old Rhaenyra, who answers basically, when I'm queen, I will create a new order. And yeah, I really like the shot. I think Emma Darcy is looking awesome as Rhaenyra. Yeah, I think this casting looks really nice. I think both young Rhaenyra and older Rhaenyra actually seem to be cast really well. Same with Alicent. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how they really handle that. The fact that they're switching actors and kind of keeping the dynamics logical. But I think the way they're shooting this in the trailers and showing the characters and the different actors, I think is really well done. And then we get another shot of a dragon. Again, I think this is Rhaenyra and Syrax. Again, I think I mentioned this before when I was reacting to the trailer. It's hard to tell which dragon is which one. They showed a lot of dragons in this one, but apart from Caraxes a bit later on, it's hard to say which dragons we see exactly. Because in a lot of them we see a lot of movement, and then some of them it's like a bit of a question of, some of them look kind of similar, where it's like, is it the same dragon? Is it a different dragon? I'm not exactly sure, but I'm looking forward to find out. And then we talk about dragons. We get the shot of the stepstones, and then we get a few shots of Daemon fighting. I think yes. And then basically they're talking about dragons in the background and how basically dragons is something that men should maybe never have try to get into because it's too much power. And then we get this nice shot of the dragon egg inside this. I don't know what exactly this is, but yeah, this is probably a way to hatch the dragon egg or trying to make it hatch. Is it hatching here? I don't know. And then we get the shot of Daemon and Caraxes, which I'm looking forward to the relationship between Daemon and Caraxes and the dragons and the dragon riders in general, actually. Yeah, I think, again, I hope this is something they really highlight, which I think they should, because at this point I think the Targaryens have a lot of knowledge about dragons, which is something that would contrast the main show, because we see Daenerys trying to deal with her dragons, but she doesn't have a lot of knowledge about them and how her ancestors dealt with them. But this is basically this is the height of the Targaryen power, and this is where they have basically the most dragons. So I think this will be really interesting to explore how all these dragons and dragon riders interact with each other. So we get these two shots of Daemon and Caraxes. I think Caraxes looks awesome. I'm actually wondering if this is a younger version of Caraxes, and if he will grow over the course of the series. I presume he will. But in any case, I really like this. It's not really a new design, it's a similar design to Drogon, but it's just with the longer neck, the horns are a bit different. I think like it's a different design, but it looks close enough to be like, okay, it's the same world. So I think that's really nicely done. I like the color on him. I was actually worried about the colors of the dragons because I was like, again, maybe they will look way too similar. But from the few shots that we got of the dragons in this trailer, they're still quite dark. But I think the red highlights on Caraxes in this one look quite nice, and also the yellow highlights on Cyrex in the other shots we've seen look very good. And then this is probably one of the bigger scenes of season one. I presume this is Aemond, and then we just get a foot and a tail of another dragon, which, if you look in the background, it looks like we're in a hilly area. This is a massive dragon, and presumably it's Vhagar, which, if this is the size of Vhagar, I'm looking forward to this scene. I hope to see Vhagar. So basically, actually, I'll talk about that later. I'll talk about that at the very end, because again, it's very I'm a bit confused about these dragons a bit, but I think that's probably what they want. They don't want everything to be clear and everybody to know, okay, this is this, this is this, this is this. So yeah, that's fine. Then we move on to this scene in the cave, and we see Dragonfire there, and this casing, it looks interesting. There's stuff in this cave. I'm not sure if this is on Dragonstone or where this is at really. Yeah, it's hard to tell what's happening here. Let's move on, and then we get this nice shot of Alicent and Rhaenyra in front of the Iron Throne, which I'm wondering what's happening here, right? These are the older actresses, so presumably their issues have started at this point. And I really like the costuming here, actually. Alicent with the 7-pointed star chain that she's wearing. Nice tidbit here, actually, with the Old Town connection with the Faith of the Seven. We see Rhaenyra in the front, and then it looks like they're looking at somebody. Not sure, maybe it's Viserys trying to calm both of them down in their conversation or something. We hear Alicent talking in the background to, again, I'm not sure who she's talking to in this next shot. It could be, so my first thought was it's Aegon. But from the look of the hair and stuff, it doesn't look like Aegon. So I thought it was Aegon or Aemond. But the hair doesn't make it look like it is. It might be Viserys. Not sure why exactly Alicent would be talking about Rhaenyra cutting off any challenge to her succession. I don't know why she would say that to Viserys directly. Yeah, but it's an interesting situation. I'm really looking forward to see how this intrigue plays out and how exactly they will portray Alicent, and especially the dynamic between Rhaenyra and Alicent, which seems to be basically the highlighting factor of of the first season, where they'll go from how the relationship between Alicent and Rhaenyra starts and how it deteriorates over time. So really looking forward to that, and I think not yet. I thought we would get the shots of Alicent and Rhaenyra in the next few seconds, but first we get some gold cloak scenes again. We've seen these before in the second teaser, I think. And then we see another dragon. Now, I'm trying to, again, figure out who this is. But again, it's hard to tell. My gut reaction is always that it's Cyrax and Rhaenyra. This might be Sunfire and Aegon, though. Yeah, not sure. I mean, it's hard to tell, really. One thing I find interesting is how high these dragons are flying. Because in this shot, it's like way up in the clouds. And I think we saw another shot in a while back where it also, the dragon was in the clouds, basically, like a plane. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing these shots. I think also doing it in daylight looks really cool. Yeah, I think this will be interesting to see. I didn't know they fly that high, actually, so I think the shots look really cool. Okay, and then we get another shot of Rhaenyra, probably at King's Landing, not sure. And then we see the crown. Now, this crown has been the debate. There has been a lot of debate about this crown because it's not quite book accurate. So in the book, this crown, this is Viserys's crown, which he gets from Jaehaerys. It's basically a circlet with 7 different colored gems, supposed to kind of showcase the faith of the 7. But they change it to be more like a classical crown. With it has the Targaryen sigil at the start, and then it has I assume, the 7 major house sigils engraved on the sides, which I think is a nice change. I was assuming maybe they'll add some more color to it in post or something, to kind of resemble those rainbow colors of the book version. But it doesn't look like they're doing that. But I think this crown looks good. It did look a bit basic in the first few shots I saw of it, but once I realized that there are all these small sigils throughout the crown, I think it looks actually quite nice. And then we see basically Rhaenyra and Daemon talking about basically how presumably Alicent will be trying to block Rhaenyra from inheriting the throne, which, again, interesting. Very explicit that she thinks that Alicent will actively try to block her. Interesting choice. And it will be interesting to see how that plays out exactly. Then we get another shot of Alicent, I assume. So this is for sure in King's Landing, just judging from the windows. Might also be the throne room. I'm wondering if this is the Green Council scene. Possibly it is. Possibly. And then we get another nice sparring scene. And this is between, I believe, or I don't believe, I'm 99.9% sure this is Aemond One Eye. And then we see Aemond and Kristen basically sparring in the yard here. Yeah, and in the background we hear Otto talking about our hearts remain as one, and then Alicent replying, "Our hearts were never one," which is interesting because at the same time we see these 2 shots of first young Rhaenyra and young Alicent, who were very close, were praying together, and then we see old Rhaenyra and old Alicent, who sit very far apart, and on this feast. And this could be I think it's too late to be the feast of the Green and Black feast, but it is a feast that's later on, and yeah, just from these 2 shots you can really see how their relationship in their younger years, how close they are praying together, and then in this time period where it's like, okay, they're far apart, they're sitting kind of next to each other, but yeah, this relationship at this point just feels like it's beyond repair. And one thing I think is really interesting, I don't have Fire and Blood with me. This looks very similar to an artwork in Fire and Blood. I'll try to find it if I can. Yeah, and put it on screen. But this shot, like the shot of old Rhaenyra and old Alicent at the feast, it looks so close to one of the art pieces in Fire and Blood. Yeah, I really like it. And then we get a few shots of Corlys during a battle scene, which I think he looks really cool. I really like his helmet here, with the seahorse engraved on it. I assume this is at the Stepstones. It probably is. Actually, let me go back. Yeah, it's hard to tell who they're fighting because we only see Corlys and his men. No, yeah, I think it's pretty sure. In the next shot, we see kind of who he's fighting, and it seems like it's the battle at the Stepstones. Should be interesting. And then another thing I did not expect: we get two shots, or one scene of Rhaenys and Alicent talking with each other, which I think is really cool. Oh, sorry. Before that, we get a shot of Alicent just alone in a room. But then, we get this shot of Rhaenys whispering in Alicent's ear that, have you ever imagined yourself sitting on the Iron Throne? And then just Alicent looking at her, being like, this is really nice. I think this will, again, a dynamic I did not expect to see, because, again, it's not in the books, really. We never hear about Alicent and Rhaenys talking to each other, but this could be so good. Like, this is one thing that I think this show has to nail, and that isn't that easy to nail, is the dialogue and all these character interactions. And from this trailer, it makes me think that they have nailed that. That's basically my biggest worry, is that the dialogue and the character interactions won't live up to what Game of Thrones did, because in Game of Thrones, they just, for the first 4 seasons, they straight followed the book. Most of the dialogue, but like most of the big dialogue scenes are directly taken from the book. And in this case, we don't have those dialogue scenes from the book, so they have to kind of do it separately. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think the dialogue looks good here. That's one thing I'm still worried about, because I think the spectacle, the dragons, and the story, the plot in general, that's all there. The thing they need, really, the writers of this show need to work on, is the characters, relationships, and the dialogue. If they nail that, I think this will be a huge success. Or not maybe it won't be a huge success. It will at least be very good, because I think everything else this has the potential to be incredible. Sorry for rambling a bit about this, but I'm really stoked to see this stuff. And then we get another shot of the dragon flying over. I think it's Otto here. This might actually be the same scene from. This is probably the same scene where we see Daemon and Otto face off at Dragonstone. It seems like it's the same people on Otto's side. And then we see a dragon flying overhead, and I'm not sure which dragon this is, but it looks really nice. I'm not sure, it doesn't look like Caraxes here, so I don't think it's Caraxes. But yeah, that's a really cool shot. It reminded me a lot this reminded me a lot of a scene at Winterfell in season 8 of Game of Thrones, where Drogon and Rhaegal fly over the walls of Winterfell, and I think it was Sansa, and maybe was Arya also there? I don't remember, but I think Sansa at the very least is like shocked at the dragons and just looks after them. So this kind of reminded me of that. And then we get another shot of, I think this is at the tourney, where we see a Baratheon soldier, and then we get another one of the shots of House Valerion. This shot we've seen in all of the trailers. I think this was in the very first teaser. This was in the last trailer as well, and now we get another version of it. And then, so this is the next shot. I think this is on the Stepstones again, but not sure. Like, I'm not sure what exactly is happening here. This is hard to say. It looks cool, but I don't know what exactly is happening. And then, we get another dragon scene. And this is where I'm like, again, it's hard for me to say which dragon and which dragon rider this is. I think it looks really cool, the dragon breathing fire, and it looks like it's the Stepstones. It doesn't look like it's Caraxes. So logical conclusion would be it's sea smoke. I'm not sure if the color lines up with sea smoke though. So yeah, my first guess is sea smoke just because of what I said. But again, it's hard to say. It's hard to say just from the look of it which one it is. But my guess is sea smoke. Yeah, very nice shot. And then we go to this, I think, funeral pyre, probably. Yeah, not sure whose pyre it is. I think it's Damon and Alicent here. It's hard to tell who exactly it is, but I think it's Damon and Alicent. And then we get this one short shot of this guy in a golden mask. I have no idea who this is. I've been trying to think about like what this is and who this is, but it's hard to say. Yeah, maybe it's one of the guys on the stepstones that they're fighting or something, but this is hard for me to say. I have no idea what this is. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments. And then we get another shot of Damon fighting. And then, so this is the whole sequence that I think they've been kind of building this about. So we see Alicent snatch the dagger, probably from Viserys, and then we see her charge. And this is again the shot that we've seen in the first teaser where she's charging with the dagger. And then we see a very nice shot of, again, not probably, I should stop saying probably, sorry. It is Aemond. And it looks really cool. I think this would be so cool. I'm not sure who he's talking with, but I'm really looking forward to see Aemond on screen. And then again, we see the cut back to Alicent and Rhaenyra. Again, a scene we've seen in all of these trailers. I think this will be a very interesting, very important scene in the season. And then we see two shots of Daemon and Rhaenyra. One, Daemon with young Rhaenyra, and then it directly cuts to what I presume is Daemon and old Rhaenyra, and then we get this nice shot. Again, I think this is Caraxes. I've seen people talk about or think that maybe it's Meleys. I don't think it's Meleys because I think this looks way too close to how Caraxes looked in the previous shot. So I'm pretty sure this is Caraxes. This is also the thumbnail of the trailer, which was cool. Yeah, I'm 90% sure this is Caraxes. Again, I think he looks cool. I think it's nice that it looks different than Drogon, but it still looks close enough to be like the same family of dragons. And then we go back to Rhaenyra with the dagger almost close to her eye again, and then we see another shot of this whole skirmish between Rhaenyra and Alicent. There's a lot going on in the scene. People were kind of saying that we see Corlys and Rhaenys trying to shield some of the kids here, and it's interesting to see what exactly is happening and what exactly is going to happen. This is a scene that should be really intense. Yeah, and I think the fact that they're highlighting it from in each teaser trailer, or in each teaser and in each trailer, kind of highlights that this will be a very important scene. It should be a very important scene, but the fact that they're highlighting it that much makes me think it would be really good. And then we have, again, Rhaenyra just talking in the same scene, saying like, now they see you as you are. Nice way to leave off. And then you just have this. Okay, again, so this... Okay, I've talked a lot about dragons in this whole thing, but once again, I don't know which dragon this is. My first hunch was that this is Vhagar, but I'm not sure anymore. It could be Cyrax, it could be Vhagar, it could be Vermithor, but the thing is, I don't think it's Vhagar because I kind of think they would save Vhagar for the main show, and I think we got the scene with Vhagar's foot at the start, so it kind of doesn't make sense to show Vhagar's face in the same shot. It might still be Vhagar. I think the green eyes kind of match up with Vhagar, but I would imagine that Vhagar would look a bit different because I think Vhagar is supposed to be bronze with some bluish highlights, and I think that's something, if they want to do that, it would look a bit different, but I think the green eyes align with what the the book version of Vagar is supposed to look like, but also the shape of the head and everything looks very much like the version of Cyrax we've seen. So this is hard to say if this is Vagar or Cyrax. Could be either one. I'm fine with either one. I think it looks cool. Yeah, it's a nice shot to end on, to kind of, again, be like, we have a lot of dragons here, a lot of different dragon designs again. But yeah, I don't want to, like, I wouldn't bet on who it is. Like, it could be Vagar, it could be Cyrax, it could be another one, actually. Like, it's not necessarily one of those two, even. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say to this shot. I think it looks really cool. I'm not sure who it is. So, and then we get the logo. Yeah, that's the teaser trailer. So, yeah, I hope that this wasn't too rambly. I'm still kind of processing this trailer because I think it's really cool. I think there's a lot of things to unwrap here, and I think it's just getting me more hyped for the show. I was actually not expecting to see this trailer today. I thought it would come out on Saturday when they have the San Diego Comic-Con panel, but the fact that it is out today is cool. I had to scramble a bit to be like, okay, I need to make this video. But yeah, I'm super hyped for this. I think this show could be really good. As I mentioned, I think there are a few challenges they have to overcome, mainly dialogue, characters, and relationships. But if they can work around those and make those hit really well, I think this should be great. And I hope they manage to do it. And I hope people will give it a chance. I hope people will like it, because I think this story is great. I think this story has all the things that made Game of Thrones great in the first place, with more dragons. So yeah, I think this should be great. I hope the showrunners will do a good job. They seem like they are big fans of the universe and big fans of the book. So I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about this. I'm very hyped, but also cautiously optimistic because I'm a bit worried for some reasons I mentioned as well. But yeah, that's all for today. Yeah, if you want more House of the Dragon content, I have not yet done a video for House of the Dragon. I was actually planning to do one before this, but yeah, it's kind of delayed because I'm here, and yeah, I'm here with my parents. Yeah, so that might still be off a week or so. Yeah, but I have a review for Fire and Blood if you want to check that out, and the video I was going to do is basically going over the background story and the premise of House of the Dragon. So if you're interested in that, feel free to subscribe to the channel. That should be out in the next 2 weeks or so. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to make that video and then also talk with people about this. And then, yeah, I think this trailer is good. I'm really looking forward to see what more we see this week, because it seems like with San Diego Comic-Con coming up, we'll see a lot more. Yeah. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. If you liked, leave a like. If you have anything to talk about in this trailer, please feel free to leave a comment. I'm glad to talk with you. Yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.